You are now watching the Around the Clock History Podcast. Follow us on Spotify and follow our own accounts. Enjoy this episode. What is up, guys? It's been a long time from us, but we're officially back. The Around the Clock History Podcast is back with MJ Atkins. MJ, how are you feeling? I'm feeling really excited because this is our.
Feeling good.
Me too. This is our. It's been a while. It's really been a while, and I'm glad to be back here. It's night now, but we're gonna try and do this as quickly as possible. I know some of y'all probably like longer episodes since it's a podcast, but we have not including the intro stuff and the wrap up. We have four topics roughly we want to talk about for this episode, the Iron Age. But first, I want to get into some announcements. So obviously, you saw the rebrand, and the new thumbnails and the slides, everything. We that old thumbnail, yeah, now it's looking way worse than the one we have right now because, like you said, it felt like a waiting room, and I have to agree,
Yeah.
it felt really bland. But this one is more cozy, more vibrant. It's just more open, in my opinion. And I'm not an expert in how do you say making this stuff, but I don't need to be an expert to tell you guys that it looks way more welcoming than this one. Also, I have a if you see right now, I have a screenshot. Well, right now while we're recording, you don't see it, but right now in the editing bay, you can see a screenshot, and basically this is a screenshot of our next episodes. I'm gonna link it, but every other episode, which is like a ton of them, we're not gonna leak because obviously it's a surprise. So this is our new format. So there are a lot of eras in history, and we wanted to complete them in series of episodes, not in separate playlists. It's gonna be in the same playlist, but series of episodes. We're gonna go in with a lot of topics. So once we go into a new era, for example, the classical era, we'll have an intro episode, and then after the classical era, we'll have like 3 or 4 episodes. Of these episodes are basically specific episodes of classical era civilizations. For example, you see India, China, Rome, Greece. We'll talk about that, and after those, we'll talk about specific events. So that's the system. And when the classical era episodes stop, we're gonna go on to the next era and do that same system. So, yeah, so that's about it for the announcements. I don't want to get too in depth with it because, again, I wanna do this quickly since it's night. But, yeah, let's just go on to the first topic. So, Bronze Age collapse and review. Obviously, episode 1. It was a Bronze Age, and we talked quite a bit of that, especially the weaponry, and the advancements of it in the Iron Age. We're gonna talk about a lot. So, MJ, how about you start this one off? Bronze Age collapse and review. How about you just start with the review and what happened in the Bronze Age, so we can just get a refresher in our mind.
All right. The Bronze Age was a massive time for innovations and progressive thought.
Exactly.
And we talked about that last time. You know, it made way to new technology and weapons, different warfare. A lot of empires sprung up, which was nice. Um, and then it just ended.
Exactly. Bronze Age collapse.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to pinpoint what exactly caused that, but it it was just a rapid end to all of that new civilization technology.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. We don't really know what happened with the Bronze Age collapse, but it was considered a dark age. There were a lot of invasions. Um, I don't know, just a lot of distress in general. I mean, to be fair, the Bronze Age collapse gave in to the Iron Age, where a lot of new weaponry and tools were being developed, and it helped a lot. So, yeah,
Right.
I totally agree with that. You can close it. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, and also, I know I'm agreeing with everything you said, but you summarized the Bronze Age really good. It was a lot of innovation, just like the Iron Age. Bronze Age, Iron Age. Obviously, bronze tools and weapons were being developed. And again, a lot of innovation and inventions. It's one of the major ages in history. And like we said, you have to talk about that, even if you don't want to go that old. So, yeah, definitely agree with that.
Right.
So anything else to really mention about the Bronze Age collapse? I mean, I don't know. I think it summarizes up pretty
I mean,
good.
there was this period between the Bronze Age and the Iron Age where all of that new technology seemed to kind of fade into obscurity, and you didn't see as much use of those bronze tools or iron tools, which is again why it's kind of like a lost period.
You you have a great point with lost period. Exactly. There's this gap in between Bronze Age and Iron Age that I don't know. I honestly I looked it up, and the Bronze Age collapse was actually a little bit part of the Iron Age considering the years. But even so, there's still that gap in between, and then after that gap, they came up with new inventions, new inventions. It's just fascinating because obviously
Right.
you see the change between the weapons and tools, like I keep saying, and yeah, just how quickly it can technology can change and how better it
Mhm.
becomes. It is pretty fascinating. So
Right.
this segment, there wasn't much to say. It was just a refresher and a little bit of the Bronze Age collapse. So yeah, you put it perfectly. Great job. So now let's go to the other segment. So what was the Iron Age? I know we talked a little bit about this in the previous segment, but yeah, basically Iron Age, another huge age in human history. Even if you don't like going into these old eras, I mean, it's crucial because the Iron Age again, steel weapons and steel tools, and the tools affected agriculture a lot. Better agriculture practices, more efficiency, and I mean, agriculture, whether you agree or not, I mean, is a huge part of civilization. If you do not have good agriculture, you do not have good food input, you go into famines, you starve, the populace dies. It's a huge part of
Right.
history. So and especially the warfare. We'll get more in that in the next segment, but just really want to quickly say it did change warfare a lot. So better weapons. Sad that I'm saying this can kill more people. I mean, that's just a tough part of history. More into this podcast, especially in the later episodes, we're gonna have a lot of war episodes, and it's gonna get ugly quick. Just want to say, but sadly, that's a part of history. War, whether I hate it, but that's just a part of it. So I quickly wanted to just state that about the Iron Age. Do you want to follow up anything I said?
Not really.
Yeah.
But to kick off the Iron Age, there was the Trojan War, I believe. That
Yeah.
was in like the 11th century, right? Or
Um.
BC technically. So,
Before Common Era, before Christ, whatever you want to say. Yeah, I think so. Hold
right.
on. Let me fact check that for you. When was the Trojan War? I believe you're right because again, there's that warfare aspect of it. It was in 1184. So 1184 BC, 1194 to 1184. I believe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was like the first event in the Iron Age. And then near the end of the Iron Age, you start to see civilizations like Rome and the Greek Empire
Yeah.
start to form.
Yeah. We're
Um,
gonna get into that really soon.
right.
So the classical era, I believe, which is again the next series of episodes. Uh, I forgot to check this up. I don't know if it's come. I think it's at the very end of the Iron Age because I
Yeah,
think
that was
Rome
in like
was
the
okay.
700s, I believe, BC.
Okay. So it is nearing the end. So you can see the Iron Age is really important. So maybe let's just say you're a fan of Roman and Greek history. Well, you can't really talk about that if you skip this age because this is when, like, not when Rome started, but it was developing basically. Iron
Right.
Age
Well,
and
no, this was when Rome started. I believe they formed their civilization in like right before the Iron Age ended.
oh yeah, never mind, my bad. That was what I meant to say. It wasn't developing. It started.
Yeah.
It started, but it developed. How do I say this? It started. late in the Iron Age, and then it developed way more in the classical era. That's how you got it wrong. That's what I meant to say. My fault.
Right,
So
but without the tools and weapons created during the Iron Age, Rome and Greece might not have been able to take over the vast amounts of land that they were able to
exactly,
take over.
exactly. And for Rome, what would feed their soldiers? I mean, sometimes in war, soldiers live off the land, but again, the supply routes, who would feed their soldiers? So
Right,
agriculture and obviously military, and that's what built upon Rome and Greece, and that comes from the Iron Age. See how this all connects? That's why the Iron Age is hugely important. So
right.
right now we are right now we are 10 minutes in. So I don't think there's much to say. Basically, we covered the gist of it: better tools, better weapons, and that also
Yeah.
led to huge empires of Rome and
Well,
Greece.
I think just to add one more thing, I think what really set the Iron Age apart from the Bronze Age was that most civilizations really survive the Bronze Age. I mean, you have a few like Egypt, um, and I don't know many others, but um, the Bronze Age powerhouses really weren't still around when the Iron Age happened. Um, so it's easy to neglect the Bronze Age because the Iron Age had so much more uh, lasting civilizations.
Exactly, and even though you just said that other all Bronze Age also getting ignored, the Bronze Age also went into the Iron Age, and the Iron Age went into the great empires of Greece and Rome. So our point is everything connects in history. Like all these eras are connected, and they build up new inventions, new weapons, new technology, new governments. They all build up to even the modern age here. So I mean, it all builds up. So these early ages are really important. Just saying, right? So also just briefly want to mention, you know, just briefly want to mention some Indian history here. We're gonna get a classical era India episode, but just want to briefly mention this is also the time of Ashoka. If you don't know who Ashoka is, he is a grandson of Chandragupta Maurya, and basically, Ashoka was, I think, India's greatest conqueror because the Maurya Empire, I believe, almost conquered the entirety. They conquered a vast majority of it, but the southern Indian kingdoms they were really struggling on. So this was also the age of Ashoka as well. So that is really interesting. So when we're gonna go into our India episode, I think we're gonna talk about the Maurya Empire there. So this was a really fascinating time in history, and it basically kickstarted a lot of empires. So I think that's about it. Yes, that is. I've said anything I want to. I think you've said it too, unless you want to get one little thing in there.
No, I think that should be good.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 So after that, yeah, we're done with this segment. Now we're gonna move on to advancements of weaponry. So I know we said better steel for weapons, but if you want to go more in depth in that, go ahead.
Um, I don't know uh, what all there is to say. I think it was a big event, iron tools and those heavier metal tools are just better for fighting than bronze tools or wooden tools.
Yeah, they were sharp. They were sharper basically. Iron is obviously tougher than bronze. So basically, consistency of it, and I would say durability as well because it's tougher was better, so it would last longer. It changed military a lot. Basically, I mean,
Right.
obviously, better weapons throughout these eras. For example, the introduction of the gunpowder, like that, obviously uh, turned around military a lot, especially when it was a new concept. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, iron was easier to mine. It was cheaper to manufacture. it was just a better metal for that sort of military weapon use.
Yeah, exactly. And even the versatility of it. For bronze, I mean, you could say the same thing, but the versatility. For the iron weapons, you can make daggers, shields, spears, swords, javelins, axes. There's a lot of versatility, and with iron, I mean, you could probably do it with bronze too, but with iron, you can make a lot of weapons, and a lot of an arsenal of weapons. I mean, in my opinion, makes an army better, is
Right.
you have range weapons like javelins. You have obviously close quarters, like daggers, swords, stuff like that. It's the versatility that goes into it. So that obviously made an army better. So better material, better versatility, better durability, all of that. That obviously made militaries better. And again, that clearly benefited the empires of Rome and Greece because they conquered literally everything in the path. More Rome because I don't know. Sometimes it just feels like they want to conquer the entirety of Europe. Obviously, they didn't do that, but it really looked like they want to. So,
Right.
really, not much to say there. But this is an important segment because, I mean, again, it did change military, and it also spilled into the classical era because they were using a lot of iron tools and iron weapons even in that era as well. All right, so let's see. I think this is our last segment for the day. It's going to be architecture of this age. This is a kind of a tricky one because they're really to be fair, in the Bronze Age, obviously the pyramids, like that was way before the Iron Age, and a lot of architectural advancements, even not even just the pyramids. But one thing I read up on that I want to mention is hill forts. So basically, hill forts haven't really been seen a lot, but during before that time, obviously. But the Iron Age introduced a lot of it. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I wouldn't imagine hill forts being introduced into the Iron Age at all. Yeah, anything to follow up on that?
Um, no,
Yeah.
no, I think changing military tactics just had a lot to play
Yeah.
into with that.
All right, cool. Yeah, that makes sense because again, the hill forts, you know, protected the populace, and also, oh yeah,
Hold
I
on
was
a
I was
second.
gonna mention,
Sure, I'll hold on a sec.
I was gonna mention as
Um,
well that there were also the introduction of roundhouses. So you had the population, being it's just like their meeting place basically, organized villages better. So you know what, in my opinion, I don't think it's that important with the roundhouses. I mean, it is to an extent because it organizes village more, and a lot of organized villages and such. So, but I don't know. I think that's history. I think that's interesting because I never would imagine the roundhouses and hill forts to be more of an Iron Age concept. And also, now I remember. I believe Iron Age also introduced gateways, guardhouses, towers, stuff like that. All right, now I remember. So it introduced a lot of defensive buildings, and that also ties in with the military aspect as well. So I'm serious. I never would have imagined all of these huge defensive buildings like castles, guard towers, drawbridge, stuff like that. Especially bridges, where back then there obviously weren't any organized road systems and all. There were trails obviously, but to get from a lot of places to another, there were a lot of bridges as well. So that was a huge invention from the architecture aspect of it. So actually, now that I think of it, the Iron Age has a lot of architectural innovations. So
yeah.
yeah, if you I know I said a lot about that, but if you want to add anything to that, if you don't, then we'll wrap up the episode here.
Well, I guess I kind of wanted to make a connection to the when steel began to experience a lot of manufacturing.
No.
But a similar thing happened. We started building everything out of steel and concrete. Um, so I would imagine that the Iron Age had a lot to play in with that. As iron became more readily available,
Yeah.
people started using it as tools to build their homes or as a material to strengthen their structure.
Yeah, exactly. So even then, iron has an aspect in architecture as well. So yeah, I think you made a great point. I don't have too much to follow up on that, but I do agree. Honestly, now that I think about it, iron is also really tough in for buildings, so they don't get attacked as much. And again, as I was saying, the guard towers, castles, stuff like that. All these fortresses to protect villages, especially during this not only turbulent time. That was more the Bronze Age collapse, but especially for the huge rise of warfare. All right, so we've covered architecture, we've covered weaponry, and we've covered what was Iron Age and a review of the Bronze Age collapse. We've covered everything. So that's gonna wrap it up for this episode number 2. We clocked in at about 21 minutes. That's fine, honestly. I don't know if we're the type to do long episodes and all, but hey, at least we're back. That's the most exciting part. So next
Yeah.
episode is gonna be, I believe. Oh no, wait. I remembered. We're not doing the classical era intro episode just yet. I believe we're also doing some religion episodes on Abrahamic and Dharmic. I think that's what I had on the roadmap for the episodes. Never mind, my bad. So I believe next episode it's either gonna be a religious episode because we want to talk about religion too because that's a huge aspect of civilization. And that is about it. So check us out on Spotify. Link is in the description. Check out our socials. I'm on Twitter and Twitch. MJ is on Instagram and Twitter. So go check those out. And yeah, there's nothing much to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and we'll see you later for the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.